What's up, guys? This is Aaron Marshall, aka Intervals, and I'm going to talk to you guys about a crazy tour story. So, after some careful deliberation, I've filtered out the ones that I'm probably not allowed to tell you, which is the majority of tour stories. So, I figured I would share with you guys a story about a crazy day, a crazy couple of days that was really challenging for myself and my crew, and just gives you guys some insight into like what can happen on the road that could prevent a show from maybe happening, or make a show difficult to execute, and the crowd is typically none the wiser because we do what we need to do and pull it off. Basically, we had a show in Tampa and then we had to play in Atlanta at the Masquerade. Second guitar, Sam Jacobs, needed to fly out for another tour. He's a crew member for a Canadian country artist named Dallas Smith, and he already had a prior engagement, so he needed to leave tour early, and we were aware of this. So we were picking up another second guitar player, probably about 10 shows from the end of tour. It's a dicey time to do that. The deal is we're going to pick up Thomas Griggs in Tampa, and we had planned for a day off to drive early into Tampa and have a rehearsal with Thomas, and then do the show at the Orpheum, and then see Sam off, and then head to Atlanta and carry on. Somewhere around like Tallahassee, I think we were in Monticello. I would have never heard of it. Our bus driver texts the group chat and says, I think I need to pull the bus over. I think we're going to break down. So we pulled over into like a rest area. Certain buses will have like a, sort of like a warning message or some sort of like computer type scenario that appears on the dash that if something's gone awry with the vehicle, it prevents the driver from being able to continue using it. I think it caps the speed out, and it sort of handicaps certain features. So basically we can't move the bus. We were pretty worried because we are like 4 or 5 hours from Tampa, and we still have to make it to the show the following day, so we need to get there for sound check, and we have production and everything. We have a lot that we need to do to make the show happen. And we're now sacrificing our only rehearsal with Thomas as well. So it's going to be dicey. We know this, but we're trying to figure out how we're even supposed to make it to the venue for sound check. We basically decided, okay, we have to get a new bus because the tour has to carry on. So Bandwagon basically said it'll take us about 14 hours to bring you a new bus on a wrecker. So the wrecker tows a new bus in, drops it off, and then takes the old bus and gets out of there. It's 14 hours because it has to go from the dispatch in like Bowling Green, Indiana, and has to get to Monticello, Florida. So 14 hours is pretty good, all things considered. This is just a testament to how hard my crew works and, what it takes to like think on your feet on tour. Basically, we're trying to decide, well, how are we still going to make it the following day? Because that's not enough time to receive the bus and then get to the venue in time for sound check. So we decided the only way to do it is to book a rental vehicle in the morning as well as a U-Haul truck. And in order to do this properly and get the show on the road in time, they needed to get up at like 5 or 6 a.m. There's no Uber in the area. We're in somewhere extremely rural. So they had to call a local cab company, schedule a taxi to pick them up, take them to a rental car spot, probably like Enterprise or something. They got like an SUV or like a van of some sort, drove that to U-Haul, picked up a box truck, drove back. We then cross-loaded all of the equipment into a box truck. We took all of our personals, or as much as we could, and we got in a vehicle, a passenger vehicle. We drove a truck and a vehicle with all personnel except for our merch person and our driver, left them in the broken down bus. We all took off, made it to Tampa, actually managed to get the sound check in, but the issue is we still don't have a bus. So the wrecker shows up with the new bus, they cross-load everything remaining inside, like all of the things that needed to stay in people's bunks, like cupboards worth of stuff, obviously the contents of the fridge, these types of things. They cross-loaded all that into the new bus, linked up the old bus onto the wrecker, saw them off, then the both of them drove the new bus, made it literally in time for I think they were arriving at doors. We basically set up our new bus and carried on as if nothing had happened, basically. So this is the kind of stuff that could be going on before a show. And then that night you just see the band walk on stage and have, hopefully a stellar performance, full production and everything. That was a crazy day, and might not be the most exciting one, but I figured I'd share that because a lot of the time, especially in the world that we exist in, we have a lot of notes to play. I think people expect like a pretty like flawless or near perfect performance, and this is what could be going on pre-show, where your entire home has been uprooted, you barely made it in time for load in and sound check, and you have no idea what's going on or if it's even going to work or happen, and you still have to pull the show off. And I can assure you that nobody in Tampa that night knew. But just to finish this story off, Sam played the show that night, even though we intended for Thomas to play. Thomas shadowed Sam, didn't get an opportunity to play. And then we dropped off Sam at the airport that night, and then Thomas literally played his first show with intervals the next day at the Masquerade in Atlanta, having maybe run 5 or 6 songs at soundcheck, and it was a headline show for us. So we're probably playing over an hour worth of music, and absolutely killed it. Sometimes you just got to think on your feet, be a professional, do what you got to do, and if the crowd has no idea that any of it happened, then we did our job. So not the wildest story, but certainly a crazy one, and definitely par for the course on tour. So yeah.